All right. What's up, guys? This is the High Vibe Tribe podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about the law of attraction. My name is Justin.
My name
I'm
is Mark.
Sean. I'm Sean.
Q, we can't hear you.
I'm Quentin.
All right.
This is going really well.
So we got Justin, Mark, Sean, Quentin, and I'm Jess. And we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna do a little brief meditation so we can all find our center. And
That's
maybe
really
this will
topic as
flow a
well.
little more naturally. All right, so keep it short and sweet. I want everyone to just close their eyes. And we're going to start by breathing in through our nose and breathing out through our mouths. Do that again. And then one final time. And just continue to breathe in your own natural rhythm. So I guess we're going to do just a brief little visualization to cleanse with the light coming through from our crown chakra. So I want you to take your attention to the very top of your head. And I want you to imagine opening your crown chakra. And we're going to then envision a white light coming down in through that crown chakra. As the light flows in through the crown chakra, I want you to feel it moving through your body, going down through your head, through your neck, down through your abdomen, through each of your legs, each of your arms. And that light is going to continue flowing through you until it comes out through your fingertips and your toes. And it's just going to continue to flow steady and comfortably. I want you to continue to envision this. Okay, that's quite literally it for today. It's just to find your center, get the energy moving through you, open up any blocks. And now we're going to progress. You can take a couple more deep breaths if you want. With that being said, who wants to open the door into the law of attraction?
I can go first if everyone wants.
Yeah, go for it.
With the episode Law of Attraction, we're going to talk about what it is. And simply put, the law of attraction is that whatever you focus on comes back to you. Like if you give out positive thoughts and energy, you get that back in return. Same if you give out negative energy, you get that back in return. You can call it like attracts like, or you get what you give, or you could even think of it like karma or like the Wiccan threefold law. But scientists, though, they regard the law of attraction as pseudoscience because they don't see any scientific kind of evidence for it.
I think that's because a lot of it is related to energy. The energy you put out is the energy you receive. The law of attraction goes hand in hand with manifestation, but you can envision something you want for your future. And the way that's going to manifest into reality is by putting the work in. So you set the intention, you put what your goals are out there, and then it's said that the universe then kind of finds a way to help lead you there, but you still have to put the work in. You still have to get up and go to achieve it. I can say that I can envision myself being a millionaire a week from now, but if I don't do anything about that, I'm not going to have $1 million just show up in my bank account.
Yeah, and I like thinking of it like more like the power of belief. Like it's not to say that like what you believe is going to happen no matter what, but if you don't believe it's going to happen, the odds of it happening are pretty slim. And much like how I think that like the concept of luck doesn't really exist. It's more like being in the right place at the right time. Like if you're never putting yourself out there, if you're never in new situations, if you're never in interesting places, you're never going to like have interesting things happen to you. So I think the dark side of this is when it turns into like victim blaming. If you look at like poor people or people who have very bad luck or are in experiencing a lot of misfortune, if you subscribe to the law of attraction, it's very easy to blame these people. It's like, well, the universe is punishing them somehow, and that's not really true, right? Like that sort of ideology is like the whole lift yourself up from your bootstraps mentality. And I think what is true is you can be in a very bad, dark situation, and you can use this sort of law of attraction in order to like appreciate some of the good things you have, like or focus on the good, so that way it's not all bad in your life, even if you're in a really shitty situation.
I agree with that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going.
I was just going to say that there is actually 3 main laws of attraction, which are, as I said before, like attracts like. There's also the other one, nature abhors a vacuum, and the present is always perfect, which I can go into a little bit later because I do have notes on that.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe it's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of what you water grows. So you can think positive thoughts or negative thoughts. Whatever you're gonna focus on more, you're gonna create more of that. See, we humans, we tend to magnify our problems often. We tend to think in what could go wrong, and try to, from that mindset, go about our lives. But if you flip the script and if you envision yourself where you want to be, you're actually watering that, and you are actually radiating that. If you're gonna be positive and trust in yourself, you will have more confidence about you and positivity, and people around you will notice that. And it's just the energy that you put out there that is felt around you by the universe and by other people. So if you're gonna radiate that trust, that abundance, people are gonna, and it's just reality. That is that you are gonna attract that. You are gonna attract what you believe in. You are literally creating your own reality.
Yes.
It's all about a matter of perspective. It's all about taking control of your life, taking full responsibility, and creating your own reality, already putting yourself in that place where you want to be, and knowing your power to create. That's what it's all about to me.
I love that.
Yeah, go on, Jess.
I was just saying, I love that because it is about perspective. You can have 2 people both in low situations in their life. They're coming across hard times, especially now with I know a lot of people that are really struggling. The food prices have gone up. Like we're out here struggling, but you can have 2 people living very similar lifestyles, having the same struggles, and their perspective on that struggle is going to change the way they feel about everything around them, and then the people that they attract into their lives. So with the law of attraction, it's not necessarily thinking if you're down and out and say you're in a situation where you're temporarily homeless or something along those lines, it's not saying that you attracted that to yourself. Just the same as I can't say like I'm a millionaire and then somehow both ends are going to take you have to put some type of work in no matter where you are in your life. So if you are struggling with homelessness and all you're doing is talking about how horrible your life is and how awful everything is, and you're not taking any steps to remedy that, your life is going to continue being not so wonderful. You have to take the steps to remedy it. And by setting the intention and putting the steps forward, hello, just set it down. By stepping forward to make a difference, to get out of that situation, you're attracting better things into your future. But it does come down to us at the end of, we have to put the work in. We have to be able to perceive the situation in the most positive way possible, see that there's outcomes, figure out what's going to work best for us in those situations to get us maybe just one small step forward. Does that make sense? Sometimes I just talk.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that does make sense to me, and that's basically what I'd say. A lot of like attracts like is in the law of attraction. that
Yeah.
what you give out, you receive. Basically, if you think negatively, it's believed to attract negative experiences, and the opposite for positivity. And when it comes to nature, when it says nature abhors a vacuum, that's basically that law of attraction suggests that removing negative things from your life can make space for more positive things to take their place. That
Yeah.
it's based on the notion that it is impossible to have a completely empty space in your mind and in your life. That something will always come along to fill that space.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Like, and you can only really focus on like one thing at a time. And if you're spending all of your time focusing on your problems, that's all you're going to see, right? And if you have room in your life to focus on solutions, then maybe you'll have more time to focus on that too.
That comes under the present is always perfect law, which is that if you focus on doing things to improve your present moment, it'll all work out.
I think there's something to be said. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but if I'm just like having a rough day and I'm in like a grumpy mood and it's like I'm not even exaggerating. I'll be in a mood and I'll feel that energy around me, which I'm always like, I need to get out of this mood, but you got to let it flow. And like, I'll walk in the doors and I'll get my coat hooked on like the door handle and stuff more. And I'm like, are you serious? I swear that happens so much more often. I'm like, what is happening right now? And it only aggravates me further.
Right. Or if I need to get somewhere by a certain time and I'm rushing, like, oh, I need to make sure I have all my things.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, I can't find my keys.
I've had that happen myself. I used to work as a carer, and there was many a time I had to get the bus to wherever I was going. And sometimes I'd need to be there within like 10 minutes, and the bus traffic would just sit there for nearly the whole 10 minutes. And I'd be sat there twiddling my thumbs, just getting really frustrated.
Right. And that's why it's so important. Like, I can have, if I'm having a rough day, like everything seems so much more stressful than it is. And I'll wake up the next day and I'll look back on all of that. And I'm like, I still have all of the same struggles, but like, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. No big deal. I'm just going to go on about my day. So like your perception and your mindset can quite literally change your entire reality.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Q.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I don't do well with this sort of sense of urgency. I think that's probably one reason for my procrastination is because if I think of a deadline and then I start thinking about how necessary is that deadline. I mean, like, what's gonna happen if I miss it? Like, what's the worst that could happen? And then I let go of that like uncertainty or that expectation, and it's a lot easier for me to do the thing, because like when that pressure's on, then I'm just thinking like, oh no, I need to rush to get it done by that time.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. I'm not doing quality stuff. Where if I just imagine the deadline as some arbitrary point in the future, it's much easier for me to get it done.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, your thoughts are literally creating your entire reality. It's not to be underrated or to be taken lightly, because your thoughts literally result in your actions, and your actions result in your behavior, and your behavior results in your day-to-day life, and that results into your entire reality. So your thoughts are so powerful. It doesn't even matter what happens in your life. The only thing that matters is how you respond to it. And you always have the power for that. So it is so essential to take full responsibility and to put yourself into a mindset of abundance where there are no limits. To put yourself into a mindset, where you are over your problems. See, I used to be very insecure and anxious. And then I started also incorporating and understanding the law of attraction. I started to create a confident version of myself, and I tried to I just created it. I just made it, and I just believed that I was confident, and I would talk to myself like I am confident, and I would pep talk myself. And that was literally attracting that reality. I literally just created that. Same with like joy. Sometimes joy is just flowing through me Because I know I got the power to just create it. Like our thoughts are so powerful. We can literally, we are like all wizards and witches. Like we can literally create magic, create our own reality.
Well, we do
And
have a witch in the group.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, we always talk about like what, or I think people are really good at thinking of the worst case scenario. And I think very rarely do we think like what is the best thing that could happen. And that opens up a lot of good opportunities, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes. People tend to focus on their problems always. It's human nature. You focus on your problems and you
is.
magnify that. But it is the skill to flip the script and to start understanding that that is causing more trouble, because what you water grows. So instead, try to really diminish that and take control of your thoughts and try to focus on positive thoughts. Then you will create a positive reality. You will attract it.
This goes hand in hand with what we talked about on Monday's Live, how choosing to be or choosing to find things that you're grateful for and each and every day is going to change your mindset. I focus so much more days than not on how that day is going to be absolutely beautiful and amazing. And most of my days are. I mean, I have a lot of really good days, even days when I'm doing absolutely nothing, because it's all about how I'm feeling within. Like we have to learn to anything outside of us, anything outside of ourselves cannot affect our peace within ourselves unless we allow it to. So.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
And yes, it doesn't matter what even happens in your day. The biggest reason if it's going to be a great day or not, that's all in your internal world, not your external world. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't even hold up. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, that could be classed as using positive affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, affirmations I think they're powerful, but you should utilize them consistently, daily. Even if you just have like a small couple, like you have 3 affirmations a day and you're done in 3 seconds, they still make a difference.
But I believe it is. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I feel that was a good segue into something I wanted to talk about, which was the RAS, your reticular activation system, which is basically the brain's selective focus. And I feel that a lot of you, I've been kind of, as you guys were talking, I feel like you're kind of like touching on like that topic of that, is the vibe of that, right? Like, because it's about what you focus on and what you repeatedly like think to yourself over, the affirmations, and repeatedly, consistently, training your brain to focus on whatever it is that you want to focus on. And then once you train your RAS to intuitively, unconsciously just see it, you'll see it everywhere, right? Like how you're saying that you tell yourself that you're gonna have like a good day and you focus on gratitude and your day just flows beautifully, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is literally about reprogramming your brain and reprogramming your subconscious, because usually our subconscious is has a lot of fears and negative sides, emotions. Am I saying that right? Emotions now, but y'all get what I mean. It is negatively programmed in a lot of ways, and if you are starting to radiate that gratitude or use those affirmations, however you want to do it, if you are gonna radiate that gratitude and that abundance within, and if you are taking full control, focusing on the positive, you will reprogram your subconscious. And after a while, you won't even need the affirmations anymore. It is second nature. You are naturally radiating that.
You can literally reprogram your subconscious. That's exactly what I do as a hypnotherapist. It's a matter of reaching like that point within yourself, because you can't actively choose to make a change and change that on a subconscious level. Like a subconscious level is a lot harder to reach, which is why, and I explain this to people like who are anger management. You can struggle with anger and tell yourself after you have like an explosive episode, you're like, I don't want to behave that way. Yet the same triggers are going to get you going, and you're going to react that way again in the future. And even though you don't want to behave that way, it's so deeply rooted in your subconscious mind that you have to go deeper and make changes on a level that you're not even aware those behaviors were created on.
Right. Well, you can like condition yourself too. One of the ways that my mom was able to quit smoking cigarettes for a bit was by associating it with either an unpleasant memory or like something that was actually physically disgusting. Like I remember I
Oh,
remember she was she wanted to smoke, and then I asked for like I wanted to make a sandwich, but it was like a really nasty sandwich to her, and she started like gagging when she was throwing up, and she started associating cigarettes with like this nasty food I wanted, and it kind of worked for her. So like I mean,
that's
just do something.
interesting.
Yeah, just do something. Like I wanted to like I started smoking cigarettes again, and now I'm associating cigarettes with my dad, who I really don't like right now, and it's really helping me. Anytime I want to smoke a cigarette, I think about him. I'm like, nah, I don't want to. I don't want to do that.
I know that's
Yeah.
actually pretty cool because
Yeah.
that would be like another way of programming your subconscious mind not to do something. It's not
Mhm.
programming it to like change it or not want it as it is. It's learning to, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept indeed. With your conscious brain, you could just choose anything you want to, yeah, you want to overcome, and you can attach something negative, something you don't want to think about with it. And if you do it
Yeah.
enough, then eventually it will happen automatically. You don't have to consciously put in that effort. It's part of your subconscious. So there you go. Yeah.
Or vice versa. If you're trying to do this more positively, like instead of getting rid of the negative things, just try to add more positive or
Or you
good
could
habits, and then
actually
pair those.
reframing negative
Mm.
thoughts or
Mm.
events in your past into more positive thoughts, or
Yeah,
seeing like the benefits of what happens in the past.
right,
Well, yeah,
exactly. Or if there's something you want to do, like if you want to read books more often, but you never like segment the time for it, like you can say like, okay, I'll read a book for 15 minutes, and then that gives me permission to do this
Yeah,
thing that I'm already enjoy doing. Like
that
I
would
can
be
play a video game.
visualizing your goals.
Yeah. Or like visualize what you can do after. Like if I do this, if I make this healthy meal, then afterwards I can have this cookie or something, right? And then
like a
then you can,
reward system.
yeah.
I did that with my writing for entirely too long with writing my book. I love writing my book. I love getting into the story, but I'm busy. I am a busy person. That's just not that's factual. And I kept saying, all right, I'm going to get back into my writing. But then I wasn't actually making a schedule for it. I was like, oh, if I have some extra time. And then of course I never had extra time because I wasn't making the extra time. But just very recently, and I share this with you guys all the time, within like the last week and a half to 2 weeks, I've been making it a point to write between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. And I'm making so much progress just by putting that 2 hours in the evening after my day is like coming down, and it makes me happy.
That's so awesome. So happy to hear that
Joy in
you're
life.
working on that consistently now.
Good things.
What you said, Sean?
I was just saying, it's all about finding the joy in life.
Oh, it was always a joy to me. It was a matter of just not being able to throw that joy back into my day because I always would somehow had something else that I could do. So making it a point and designating time, sometimes making a schedule is really helpful. And that's what I did. And it's just made such a huge difference. That just kind of flows with the making what Q said before about kind of like making time for things and the reward system and all of that. So
Yeah. And like for me, like I have a really hard time blocking off time because it feels like I'm giving up like this sort of infinite possibility. Well, I could be doing anything in that time, and now I've blocked it off for this one thing. So now I can't be doing anything. I have to be doing that one thing. So I think for me, it's more helpful to have like a general idea of what I want to do and have like a time where I'm going to start something and then maybe let it flow from there. Like I find often if I say like, oh, I'm going to do this for, I'm going to wash dishes for 15 minutes. Then once I get started washing dishes, then I'm in a flow and I can clean the whole kitchen
yeah,
in a
I
couple
get
hours,
that.
right?
You're
Yeah.
giving yourself like a small goal so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And then once you're doing it, you're like, well, this is fine. This is easy. Let's just do it all.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is always. I look up to household tasks so much. Is that right? I look up to it. No, I
Look up to it would mean I would think that I would take that as it means like you look forward to them.
no. What's the term? Like I don't
Don't like them.
Yeah, like if I think about it, then I want to procrastinate. I think, no, I don't want to do it. There's a term for it, but I just can't think of the words, but whatever. Um, but as soon as I get started, it's never a problem. You know, I just have my music playing. I'm just flowing with it. It's not a problem at all. It is all in your mind. It is all like it's somehow my mind is resisting it, and it thinks it's gonna, you know, I'm not gonna like it, and I don't want to do it. So that's why I procrastinated. But as soon as you get it started, and there you go. So yeah, like that would work totally fine. What you said, like tell yourself, I'm only gonna do it 1 minute or 5 minutes even, but just trick yourself. Like you're probably just gonna stick to it.
That helps like in my morning workouts a lot. I'll be like, if I feel like I'm procrastinating a lot on it, I'm like, literally just get up and start. Just make yourself start. Cause once I'm in it, I'm in it. So sometimes I'll feel so unprepared, but I'll just like start like running on my stepper or whatever I'm doing that day. And then I'm in it and I have no choice but to finish.
Right. Well, and that way you're not setting expectations for you that are like, that's kind of setting yourself up for failure. Because if like, if you're going to be like, okay, the first day I'm working out, I'm going to go 3 miles, I'm going to do 100 push-ups, I'm going to do all this. And if you only do half, then you're going to feel like a slouch, right?
Yeah.
But if you set your goals really, really short, like, oh, I'm just going to walk around the block. And then if you end up running 2 miles afterwards, damn, you did really great. You overshot your expectations by a whole lot. So it's all a matter of perspective. And if you set your goals way too high, then you're always going to be chasing this point that's off in the future. Where if you set it somewhere attainable, you're always going to be overshooting your goals by a mile.
Yeah, see, that's an interesting thing, right? Because like the more you generate wins, the more you get wins, right? The more those little wins like each day just compiling a snowball effect until all your goals are completed. Versus if you have like a long goal that is really, really hard and you're procrastinating, now you're building up like your momentum of like loses, right? Because now you're I can't even think, right? You feel what I'm trying to get at, right? Like,
I got it.
I think that goes really well into like the hierarchy of needs too, because like on a base level, what do you really need to do in a day? You need to eat enough to survive. You need like a safe place to sleep at night. You need, you know, relative warmth and comfort. But, you know, past that, what do you really need? Like that's all, you know, what are your goals in life? What do you want to accomplish? And that's really up to you. You don't like, if you're disappointed in life, that's maybe because you've set your goals wrong. They're not, you got to set them more attainable first, and then you can shoot higher, I think.
You know, I feel that goes really deep into like forgiveness and gratitude, right? Because if you build up a lot of like failures, right? You're just like you're procrastinating on writing or whatever it is you're doing, and you just can't even get to do it, right? Because you just feel that, because you just have so much of that. Oh man, I keep trying to explain this, and I keep you feel
words are hard.
Yeah. The point I was getting at is like you can take a moment to just breathe and forgive and just be gratitude and just focus on gratitude, right? For you can just focus on building up a lot of gratitude on things that you have done that are good, that, and start building up your wins that way to just build up momentum with that.
I get what you're saying. I know I get what you're saying completely. And yes, and I think that's also like, stop setting such insane expectations, especially when people get behind on things and they're like, I haven't accomplished anything. So then they jump back into their goals and they're setting unrealistic goals. Like, just set small daily goals. Start there. Just start there, and then kind of accomplish those, and you'll be like, oh, I can do this, and then build from there. Like, be reasonable with yourself.
Yeah, and I'm the type of person who will like try to like pass the finish line no matter what. So if I set a goal for myself that like I'm gonna run all the way there and I'm gonna run all the way back, I'll do it. But then I might have injured myself, or like I'm so burnt out that I can't run for 2 weeks. And then that's not really, if my goal is to exercise, I've been like, I might have reached my goal of running as far as I wanted to, but I'm certainly not, exercising effectively.
No, because you're not getting back to it for at least a week, right?
Yeah. So expectations. I don't do expectations. Sometimes I do try to make a day plan. And if it doesn't work, so be it. I let it flow. I try to take it in my self-reflection. Try to take it to the next day. Try to see what I can do about it. But expectations lead into disappointment. So
I used to be like
expectations and regrets.
I used to be really bad with that. I would, and I'm not now. Like, I don't know. It's been years now, but I've really just kind of like found my way to where things don't, everything matters to me, but things that don't matter or shouldn't matter or really don't have any effect on anything aside from how I'm feeling for myself don't matter to me anymore. I would sit, if I set a day plan or a goal, I would set those expectations. And when I didn't achieve those, I would be disappointed with myself. And now I do still set daily goals. I still have things I'd like to get done in a day. But if I don't achieve them, I'm just like, okay, whatever, happy with what I got. It
Right.
flows so much better now.
Right. Well,
Right.
that kind of goes into it's a little cliche. What did Yoda say from Star Wars? Like love leads to fear, leads to hate, sort of like if you have this attachment and you're afraid of losing it, then you're going to you're going to end up turning that inward on yourself if there's anything that like leads to that, like not being able to maintain that attachment, right? And it's the fear of losing it that sort of
Yeah.
leads to all this negative, like self-destructive behavior, I think.
Yeah, it's all a matter of attachment indeed. Expectations is a matter of attachment. So if you're actually holding expectations, you are attaching to your goals. So yeah, it is key to let that go.
Yeah, live in the moment. Be happy with the achievements. If you are coming out of a depression and you got up off the couch and made yourself a pancake, be proud of yourself. Like everyone's always trying to set unrealistic goals, and the way society is right now, setting, well, yeah, let's not talk about society, and like just little tiny little things. It doesn't have to be crazy
Well, we
dramatic.
don't have to talk about society the general. We can do our own little group as a society.
This is
That's
true.
what I think.
Yes, we need our island. No.
I think self-reflection is key, and also especially with the main subject of today, with the law of attraction. How do you want to incorporate that? I believe the most important thing is consistent self-reflection. So really taking your behavior under the loop, really look up closely to your thoughts, and try to, improve where needed. If you see negative thinking patterns, try to just not judge it, but take it under the loop. First, you got to recognize your behavior. Then you can try to do something about it. Then you can consciously let that go and consciously replace it with positive thinking. So I think self-reflection is essential, and not just, at the end of the day to look back at your day, but consistent throughout the day. Just think like, oh, that behavior of the past hour, like, or was there anything, or as soon as something happens, some negative behavior, try to be observing your behavior constantly. If you observe your behavior consciously, that's when you can really start to make some changes.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was just going to agree with you. The only way you're going to make changes, any changes ever, is being aware. Awareness on what you want to change. Because there's a lot of people out there that may not see their behavior as harmful, and until they do, and because it doesn't matter how many people on the outside tell you, you have to fully be aware of it and understand it yourself in order to then be like, okay, well, this is what I want to change about that, or about the way I react, or things of that nature. But yeah, I was just I was agreeing with you.
Right. Well, because otherwise it's like instinct, right? And then you're not really, how many people end up changing their behavior by accident? I wouldn't say that ever happens, really.
Yeah. So it's all a matter of reprogramming that subconscious, not living on autopilot. If you live on autopilot, you do what humans are, what human nature, to just focus on your problems, and you'll have negative thinking patterns, and it will keep you down. It'll keep you back. If you really want to break open your full potential and really start to attract abundance, you got to radiate it. You got to break those negative thinking patterns and be really conscious of that. And I think that tunes in greatly to what we have been talking about before, meditation, because that is mental fitness. It's training your mind. So it is easier said than done, of course, to just think positively, don't think negatively. It's easier said than done, of course. So it takes a lot of work. So a great tool would be meditation to train your brain. And you can easier let things go, negative thinking patterns, and it is less crowded in your mind. So Still waters reflect the clearest. You can, see a clear reflection. It is more calm inside. So, and you will have more space for yourself and to reflect on yourself and to try to really make a change. And you really train your brain that way. So that is definitely recommended. And if you haven't seen the episode about meditation and want to learn some more about it, I highly recommend our episode about meditation.
Yes. Just to touch before we move on, touch back to the self-awareness of our own behaviors. Acknowledging when you react out of sorts or in a way that you're not even happy with doesn't have to also come with anger. You don't have to get angry at yourself. You don't have to somehow want to like punish yourself because you reacted the way you don't want to react. It's simply about being aware of it, acknowledging it, and trying to react in a different way the next time, or trying to make the changes you feel are right for you the next time. It's simple.
Yes,
it should not be over.
That's just like if you make the day plan. If you are, it is a question, if you are going to attach to it and really hold these expectations, that's going to lead to disappointment if you're not going to do it. No, instead, just let go of those expectations, see how it flows. You made the plan, and at the end of the day, have some self-reflection. Oh, did I do it or not? Oh, did I not do these things? Well, how am I going to do that differently the next time? Stay conscious of it and stay self-reflecting.
Yeah, I think.
I was just going to say, this would be an interesting conversation to have with somebody who has a narcissistic personality disorder. It's not the same. They're not going to see things the same.
It's true. I mean, I've dealt with a little bit of a few narcissists, and I think I have had some narcissistic personality traits. But like, I mean, in the past, I've had a hard time apologizing because I had this idea that the person I was apologizing to, and I think some of the people I was apologizing to actually did want me to feel this way, but they want me to feel bad, right? Was the idea that I had. Like, what, like I get that you're supposed to express remorse. Like, I feel bad for doing this thing, and I can say that honestly, but then afterwards I can be happy. You don't want to be smiling while you're saying sorry. Obviously, you don't want to be laughing while you're saying sorry, because that's not genuine, right? But if you're looking at someone in the eyes and saying sorry and expressing remorse, I think that's important, right? But that doesn't mean that you have to like beat yourself up. You can be sorry and continue being a happy person, but like, you shouldn't be happy about the fact that you're sorry, right? Does that make sense? Right.
Especially I think a lot of times with the people in your life, like, unless you're just a shitty person, you're not out there hurting the people you love on purpose. You're not doing it intentionally. So being able to have a heartfelt sorry and then move on from that to continue building onto your relationship, your friendship, whatever it is, and still move on with your life without that having to that moment like being the definition of who you are should be a natural flow. But I don't know. My words are hard.
Well, the law of attraction does go hand in hand with like relationships, work, money, just basically all aspects of life, really. It just all depends on how you put it into practice.
But that's really true too. Like, I actually made a whole lot of money on Dogecoin a couple of years ago, and it's because like I saw some signs that things were gonna go blow up, and like if I'd second guessed it, if I was like, no, this is too good to be true, I can't actually make a lot of money, I'm gonna lose everything if I do this. If I thought like that, then I probably wouldn't have. It was probably a dumb bet, but I bet like all my money on this, and I like tripled it. I quadrupled all my money. I'm like, wow. I mean, maybe that is partially law of attraction. If I didn't believe it was possible, I definitely wouldn't have like bet all my money on it, but I did. I ended up winning. So,
I like to kind of add on to that, because I remember Mark mentioned abundance earlier, and I wanted to kind of touch on that, because abundance is unconditional, right? You can't place conditions on abundance. We start from abundance, and then we manifest and track things from that state of abundance. If you place conditions on abundance, then it becomes scarcity. It's not abundance anymore, and you're just always chasing, like you're chasing love, chasing money, et cetera, versus from that true state of abundance, of truth, right? And you just naturally allow what's meant for you to just attract to you, right? Because like attracts alike.
Yeah.
Like
So if you want to attract abundance, you don't want to chase abundance. You
have to be
realize
abundance.
the abundance within.
Right.
You have to be abundance.
You are abundance.
this goes
We
into
all
like
are. We all have.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
don't think from that place of scarcity of, oh, I don't
Mm.
have something and I got to get
Mhm.
something outside of myself. No, already be in that mindset. Already realize it's already part of you.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
you're gonna attract it.
Well, like that goes into like a scarcity really is an illusion. We live in
Mhm.
a universe
Yeah.
of infinite abundance. That's literally an infinite universe. Anything you want is
Even
out there
scarcity.
somewhere.
Even when
Like
even when you're in scarcity, you're attracting an abundance of scarcity.
yeah, well, and also look at people who are so attracted to abundance. Like they live on top of piles of gold. They're hoarding. Like that you look into a person's house who is so focused on. I mean, sometimes I don't know. I think often if if you're so focused on abundance, you're so afraid of of scarcity, of the fact that something might in some point be scarce, right? If you're prepping or
I would argue they're in scarcity, not abundance, and they're prepping for what they're afraid of because they're in that scarcity mindset.
right,
Even if they
right.
have an abundance of gold or money or whatever, they're probably have like a scarcity of, I don't know, fucking self-confidence, or I don't know, you know what I mean? Like self-love,
Mhm.
right? Scarcity of self-love and projecting that on like some material thing.
It's just always a choice. Like you could either radiate that scarcity and live from out scarcity or from abundance. And it is a matter of realizing that everything is okay and that you are enough, and that you are not lacking anything. So it's a matter of surrender, I believe, to surrender to reality, to how it is, and realize how abundant that is and how perfect or imperfectly perfect or perfectly imperfect, however you want to say it, it
Mhm.
really all is. And to not get your ego in the way and its limitations and its judgment of this reality. If you can transcend that and go to a place of nothingness or all, basically just not having this mindset of scarcity, but realizing the abundance within, realizing coming from that state of unity and that state of acceptance, that state of your higher self instead of your ego self. um, that is true abundance, and it's always a choice. It is always available. Just know you are exactly where you need to be, and that everything is okay, and that you got abundance within, and that
Yeah,
is very powerful.
I think
Yes.
this is true like in a in a physical sense too. Like we're talking about this sort of metaphysical effect of attracting good things, or like things good things coming out of this negative space. Or if you clear the negative energy, then positive energy can come in. I think that's true on this like very real physical level. Like I think I'm trying to think of the word. I think it's the Kasimov effect. There's this experiment that they did where they put two metal plates very close together, and they put it so close together um, that virtual particles would spontaneously come into existence, but there wasn't enough room for their pair particle to get created too, because virtual particles are created in pairs. That's how. So that's what's happening in negative space. When there's nothing in space, that doesn't actually happen. The nothingness in space is full of virtual particles, of particles spontaneously coming in and out of existence, just in perfect equilibrium. So like it comes into existence and then it comes out of existence, right? But if you put these plates so close together that only one pair can come into existence, or it can't find its opposite pair, then it'll create this pressure. Like these particles spontaneously existing will push the plates apart, and you can measure that. So it's a very real thing that happens. That energy is constantly being created, and if you don't have room for negative energy, then maybe the only thing that can exist is positive energy.
Okay, yeah.
That's interesting. Who else like to add something about it?
Well, I kind of want to go back talking about the reticular activation system because I'm looking up a little bit on it, and apparently it's a network of neurons located in the brain stem, and it's like that's what like your senses like go through that apparently. But yeah, I feel the RAS, the reticular activation system, I truly feel is a very like physical, biological, uh, I don't know if tool is the right word, like function of the law of attraction, at least on a personal like a personal perspective. You know what I mean?
I,
'Cause, like,
yeah,
you're- Yeah.
so this is what you're talking about is the part of our brain that can tune out tune out anything. Is that kind of what this is saying?
Yeah, well, it's
what it is?
your selective focus. Like, it's your let me read something that I was reading that I thought was really cool that I wanted to bring up. Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, I think that's something that people with ADHD kind of struggle with. I think in part because the
makes
reticular
sense.
acting system is actually they think that they've overtrained it, or like it's so good at maintaining focus that it sort of blocks out focus. Like it's easy to get
It's like
distracted on
focusing
random
on like a
things.
bunch of different things. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get you.
like yeah, so like because it's so easy for our focus to get turned away from things. We have to train this part of our brain that's able to hyper focus, right? And then it makes it hard for outside influence to come in.
And I know, you know, and I hyper focusing might feel to us like you're so focused on something and you can get so much done with that. But like, I have kids, and if my 5-year-old comes, she's like, mommy, mommy, mommy. And I have to like pull myself together because I get irrationally aggravated with the fact that I am being pulled out of what I'm doing. I have to take my attention and put it somewhere else when all my brain wants to do is like hardcore focus on that one thing.
Justin experienced this first time when I was editing the podcast, and he was trying to ask me questions. I'm like, damn it, Justin, I'm focused.
It does. It's like such an irrational feeling that you get from it. But it is what it is. Kind of find a way to like make it work. Like, I don't rip my kid's head off, obviously. It's just internal.
I found the thing I want to read, by the way, if you guys want to hear it.
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead.
All right, so it's like a paragraph on this, like I think it's what is this website? It's like a forum, like an article, but I'm reading a paragraph that I think is really interesting. It says the reticular activation system, it starts above your spinal cord and it's about 2 inches long. It's about the width of a pencil, and it's where all your senses come in. Well, except for your smell, which goes into your emotional center of your brain. But the rest of them come in through the RAS. And what the RAS does is really connect the subconscious part of your brain with the conscious part of your brain. And there goes an example if you guys want to hear the example. Otherwise, like, that was something I wanted to read.
I mean, I get what you're saying with it, but definitely give us an example.
That's really interesting. Well, it's like linking your lizard brain, like the very early brain that controls like just like fear and like the base survival part of your brain with like the higher order part of your brain, right? So that makes sense, right? It's connecting your desire to do something with your need to do something, right?
Yes, your subconscious with your conscious. I don't know. I feel like it can go a lot if you're doing with the subconscious. Or is that basically what the subconscious would be? It would be like your lizard. I don't even know right now.
I think so. Like that's like, oh no, you have to reproduce, you have to eat, you have to sleep. Like those are things that are.
No, I think
part of it.
Yeah, your subconscious goes so much deeper than that.
Yeah,
though. Like the subconscious literally
is
like your habits, your thoughts, your behaviors, the way, like, we could be standing next to each other looking at the same exact thing and we are perceiving it different based on our life experiences, and that's housed within our subconscious mind. It's really cool.
Yeah, I believe like your conscious is like directly what you got in control right now, but your subconscious is got like the thoughts that are coming in and the fears that are coming in, or the joys that are coming. This is how your brain is programmed, and what you not directly control, but you control, your life. And by changing your life, you can change your subconscious, you can reprogram it. But it is just the programming of your brain and its habits that you not directly have under control.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. That's what it is.
Right. And really, they're all under control. Also, it's just like the indirect things you have to figure out how to access them. Right. Like your heart rate, you're through breathing. Right. And that's, it's all two sides of the same coin. Right. Like you have to have this subconscious part of your brain in order for the conscious part to have any meaning, because what are you consciously controlling?
It's interesting, especially since literally like 90% of who we are, or I don't want to say who we are, but 90% of like what we do and how we think and all of that is controlled by our subconscious mind. So we only like 10% is only conscious choice. So 10%, little tiny bit
Right. And so your conscious brain is kind of being continually dying and reborn, right? Because it's following these new parts of yourself, right? So like anytime you take a new breath, anytime you focus on a new moment, anytime you wake up, like that's a different conscious entity that is controlling the pre-existing subconscious that kind of stays the same but is also growing and changing just at a much slower rate, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure we have so much more to learn about that. Like, as we all say, we know enough to know that we still have so much to learn. We
Always.
know such a little tiny bit of it all, but it's still really fun to kind of like toss it around and think about what we do know and
Oh yeah, it doesn't
go.
even matter if we for 50 years in our life say we are a lot older and we have studied full time hardcore dove into this. Like there's always, it's still only such a little speckle of the entire universe of knowledge that
Yeah.
we barely know shit. Anybody, no human alive barely knows shit compared to all there is to know. And all there is that it's interesting to think about, like your beliefs and how you view reality. There is so much out there that you could actually experience, which would drastically change that. It is all literally fluid. And we only are the way we are because of that very limited amount of life experience we had, that little bit of life we have been exposed to. But there is so much out there which would drastically change that. Or if we would have experienced that, we would have been an entire different person. So everybody is just a product of their environment. And in that sense, you can almost never blame anybody for being who they are and doing what they do, because it is just all cause and effect, and everybody is a product of their environments.
Yeah,
People judge way too much in this reality.
that's true. It's easy to blame people for making like terrible life choices or being like, oh, you're just a bad, like calling someone a bad person. I don't think bad people really exist. There's people who do bad things. And I think someone can be doing bad things one day and good things the next day. And maybe it all balances out in the end. I don't know. Or maybe they're just a product of a terrible environment. But I do
Yeah.
think that there's a terrible loss of potential for all the people that could be doing just much better things with their time, but they're stuck in an environment where I don't know, they're working
Yeah.
a bad job or they can't get ahead just because of where they happen to be born. And like that's just terribly unfortunate for everyone, because maybe this person who we could have helped if we were a little bit more kind and generous could have like cured cancer or made like some fantastic piece of art that we're never going to get to enjoy because they're stuck slaving away at some job that it's not really necessary, right?
Yeah.
I have something to
oh, go ahead.
No, I have something to say on that, like very specifically to what Q just said. So I had to learn for myself. I have a way of always trying to see the best in people, and that can cause a lot of problems for protecting yourself. And you can get yourself into a lot of really bad situations by trying to see the best in people who are not making the best choices. So you need to learn how to, okay, you see somebody making really bad choices and you could be like, all right, they're making bad choices. I can understand maybe they're a product of their environment. So they're making these choices because of this, or this, and still keep your distance from that person and acknowledge that even though they have their reasons for making the choice, it is still their responsibility to heal from that. And it's still a requirement to treat people with basic human kindness. And if somebody's not treating you that way or not being or not acknowledging you or treating you like a person, or I don't know exactly how to word it, but like you don't have to just because you're like, well, I see the good in them. No, get away from that person and let them do their own healing.
I've actually been guilty of that myself.
Yeah,
and that's including with family as well.
It's so tough. I mean, when to know, when to give up on someone or when to support them. Yeah,
because I've got a cousin that's 6 years older than me who was brought up right by her mum, and yet she still turns into a narcissistic madam. I'm not putting it politely.
True narcissism is a personality disorder, and their brains work differently. You're not going to be able to tell a narcissist that they're a narcissist and to go get help. It's not going to happen. They don't see things the way we do. They see things very black and white, and everyone is an extension of them.
Yeah, I'd say that my cousin is that way inclined, and my ex-fiance is too, because no matter what, he'd always cause problems, but it was never his fault. It was always everyone else's fault.
And that's not, that is a trait of narcissism, but it's not.
And my cousin is pretty much the same. She
Yeah.
always dumps on everyone, but makes it as though she's the victim and it's the other
It's
person's
important to,
fault.
yeah, it's important to protect your own energy too. And that cue is when you ask, how do you know when to give up on somebody? You set boundaries. You set boundaries in the very beginning. And if they step over those boundaries, maybe you'll be like, okay, listen, you stepped over my boundaries. Let's talk about it, and then give them a second chance. But if they do it again, walk away, because they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, boundaries are so important, but just like you say, Jess, indeed, like recognize, have that kindness and compassion for all people, you know, and realize everybody is just a product of our environment. No matter how bad a person might seem, like I also don't believe there are no really bad persons, but people do bad things. And it is just probably a toxic environment which they had, or some kind of disorder. And that may be mixed with their life experience. Like I believe everybody is just always doing their best from their level of consciousness. So in that sense, if you know enough about, you know, how these things work, and you know about just psychology, it's hard to get mad at anybody, because you always understand, you know, their reason
I
for
feel
doing
that.
things. But still, like, boundaries are so important to, you
I
know,
mean, you
put boundaries
understand
and to
why
protect
someone
your
does
own energy.
something. You don't have to like it.
Mhm.
Well, setting boundaries for people like us who do see the absolute best in people and do fully, like, I can't just write somebody off as a shitty person without thinking, like, how did they get there? What led them there? What did they experience? What did they go through that led them to this point? But that doesn't mean that, like, that's why boundaries need to be set, because
Yeah.
otherwise those people are, I'm inviting that person into my life to completely, like, just wreak havoc.
Right. And at a certain point, I think certain personality type people will take that like as an invitation to take advantage of you, right? So like I met this really kind homeless person on the bus, and he was a good person. I didn't think he was a bad person, but I started letting him use my iPad to play games on, and he was really good at Fruit Ninja. He set a high score on my iPad, but then he was like, "Oh, I'll walk you home. I'll walk with you to home." I'm like, "Okay, man, it's a little weird, but I'll walk with you." And he was still playing with my iPad, and then he was like, "Oh, let me sit down on this park bench and let me play for a bit longer." I'm like, "Okay, man." And then he walks off to the bathroom, and he takes my iPad with him for some reason. I'm like, "Okay, I'll wait for you." And then he starts walking off like I didn't see him, like he was just gonna try to walk off with my iPad. I'm like, "Hey, dude, let me have my iPad." And he's like, "Let me sit down for a little bit longer." And at that point, I was like, "Okay, I probably gave you a few too many chances." And I just grabbed the iPad and I start running away, because I was pretty sure him and his friend were gonna try to mug me for it. But yeah, there's a point where you're just being too kind and you're just kind of asking to be taken advantage of at that point.
Oh my God. Yeah, people will take advantage of you if you open the door, and it's unfortunate, but people with the kindest of souls, the people that are more understanding, are also the people that if they don't set boundaries and they
Get
don't walk
taken
away from people who,
advantage.
yes, you'll get taken advantage of. And it's just it's shitty all the way around.
Because the people like myself and you, Jess, we're the type of people who, when we get taken advantage of, we take it personal, like as though we're the ones at fault, when we're not really. We know that's
it's
down,
essential to
but
it's
it still
essential to
affects us
take
that way.
nothing. Yeah, it's so important also to take nothing personal. You know,
I've learned
nothing.
to,
Oh, go ahead.
I just have learned to do that. I've kind of briefed into my last relationship with you guys. I'm not going to talk about it on this podcast. I've learned, though, through that relationship, that I do not give a flying freaking frack about somebody's expectations of who I'm supposed to be. And I'm just going to, I'm me, I'm going to be me, I'm going to continue to be me. And yeah, outside expectations, outside people, and this goes like not even from that relationship, but from people in general. I'm going to do what's best for me and what feels right to me, and I'm going to be happy with that.
Yeah, and somebody's judgment of you has nothing to do with you. That is all their reality. That is all their dream. Their, you know, that you are their mirror. So it is just probably insecurities they have in themselves, and they're probably projecting that in most of the cases.
I mean, I
And
totally get what Jess is saying, because when I was with the ex-fiance, he would always cause trouble in our relationship, and he's always be trying to control what I did, what I said, what I wore, when I went out to anywhere, when I went to see friends. I just could not have a minute's peace from him.
And you couldn't be yourself, and you couldn't flow into do
Exactly.
what made you happy and what you
And-
wanted to do. And you got to allow your partner to be.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not the type of person who likes to always have a conversation, who likes to keep it going. But he always expected me to talk constantly, and that's just not me. But me and Q, when we started dating, we had lots of conversations, didn't we, babe? And I've told him up front, this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. So far he's been quite lovely about it.
yeah,
That's awesome. Mutual respect is really important in any relationship, whether it's romantic or not. It's just a matter of like respect to other people's thoughts and opinions. And I'm not going to respect if you're like, I want to go murder that person. I'm going to say no, but that's not what I mean by mutual respect. Like,
Right.
let people just be.
And that's why it's so
Yeah.
important. Like when you're in a relationship, if you have, if something the other person is doing is upsetting you, it's really important to phrase it like, when you do this, I feel this way. Never
Mhm.
say this person is this way or thinks this thing. Then you are projecting, and that's what's really hard. It's really hard for me to criticize anyone, because I find that anytime I'm unhappy with something that someone's doing, it's usually something I recognize within myself, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to recognize it in the other person if I didn't recognize it within myself. So
Mhm.
like
So that's that awareness right there.
yeah, so it hurts anytime I criticize someone, because I'm like, oh shit, I'm a little bit like that too.
Yeah, I get it.
But that's how you grow
Yeah.
and you develop. And if you're aware of it, then you're actively making changes. Well, if you're aware of it and actually care about making the changes, then there you go. You're aware of it. So that's a starting point.
Yeah, I believe in true love, you shouldn't want to mold your partner. You should let them be exactly as they are, and you should
Uh-huh.
love the total package. Also, the things that are not so pretty to you, or that you would like to see a change in. Don't force that. You could always talk.
Well-
Communication is key in a relationship, but let each other be. That's important.
Well, I'm a total hot mess, and
There you are.
Quentin just still loves me. So yeah.
I
So,
just like how he validated that.
so how about we rewind a little, because Justin, I think you still mentioned the example of
Example, yeah.
what you were talking about.
Yeah, I can read the next paragraph for that.
Mhm.
Let's see.
And could you
So
give us a quick summary again?
I can give an example, or I'm just gonna read this though. It might be better to give an example, but I'm gonna just the next
Just the
paragraph
RAS really
after
quick
what I
again?
read.
Could you?
Yeah, so
could you
the
just go ahead?
RAS. Do you want me to just do them? Do you want me to reread the paragraph that I
Yeah.
read?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll just read it then. All right, so it says the reticular activating system it starts above your spinal cord, and it's about 2 inches long. It's about the width of a pencil, and it's where all of your senses come in. Well, except for your smell, which goes into your emotional center of your brain, but the rest of them come in through the RAS. And what the RAS does is really connect that subconscious part of your brain with the conscious part of our brain. So, for example, how this works is if you were to look around the room and look for the color blue, do you have some examples? It says like Denise's scarf, for example. I don't know what that's about. Like, makes no sense in the.
Just look for random objects in the room that are
Yeah,
blue.
and basically you look for like what blue, and you try to look for like examples of it, and then it keeps going. As well as the other things that you identified. What the RS does is then bring to light, basically like what you focus on. Once you start focusing on it, you'll start seeing it like everywhere. Like I remember Hey, what's up?
Go ahead.
No,
I
no,
was
go
like,
ahead, go ahead.
I
You know,
got
like-
myself closing my eyes, thought of the color blue, and then I was noticing it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're ever in the car with your friends or your family and you're like, or punch buggies or whatever back in the
Yeah.
day, or
Oh yeah.
point out all the red cars you see and things like
And then
that.
you'll
And
just
then
start
that,
seeing them everywhere.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it would go on for like days for me. It wouldn't just, we'd be done with the game. And like, I'm like, I can't stop seeing red cars.
It's crazy.
So
This happens when you
this
learn.
must be the. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this happens when you learn something new. Like I still remember when I started to learn how to read. I was very young, and something switched in my brain, and I all of a sudden started recognizing this is what letters are for. Like there's like all these signs actually mean something. And before I was just zoning them out. They were just random stuff, and now I'm like, holy crap! There's letters everywhere. Like, what does it mean? They're trying to tell me some message, but I can't understand it. And yeah, it was. I mean, but I think it's interesting. Like, birds' eyes apparently work this way. They have the same blue receptor in our eyes that we do, except their blue receptor in their eye can detect polarized light. So they're thinking this is actually how they can detect where north is. They're literally seeing it as a glow in the horizon. So that probably has something to do with the RAS too.
That's really
Right,
cool.
and as you guys know, I'm always seeing 47. So I believe a large chunk of those 47s I see, that's also because of this, because my brain is so fixated. on
Yeah,
it.
because I see 111 and
Sure.
1111, like all
Mm,
it'll
yeah.
be like I will just look up at the exact moment that my clock turns to from 1110 to 1111, and I'm like, are you serious? And it's all the time.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and these patterns, we're so good at noticing patterns that sometimes just random stuff that isn't even really so much part of the pattern will end up triggering it. Like you won't see 47, but you'll see numbers that add up to 47, or like
Yeah,
if-
yeah.
or you have your phone in your pocket all the time, and then you realize your phone is gone, but you just felt your phone vibrate. You felt your
Yeah,
phone
it's
vibrate,
just
and there's
the
nothing there,
phantom.
right? So it's just really weird.
Or
It's like it's like a
sometimes
phantom.
I see a 4 here and I see a 7 like way over there, and they connect like you know. I see all kinds of crazy patterns forming into 47.
Well, that goes deep into numerology, which we're not going to get into numerology in detail on this episode, but it has like some reason, some pattern, and all that.
Yeah, I think there is something extra significant about it, even if it is random patterns. There's something significant to the fact that you're picking up on those random patterns, and
Yeah.
I don't think true randomness doesn't really exist. Like there's no such.
Yeah.
Randomness is just kind of like this idea we've created that it doesn't just like a perfect circle. It doesn't exactly exist anywhere in the universe. It's just things that kind of approximate it.
I mean, we've pretty much talked about everything. The law of attraction it's not overcomplicated. It's pretty simple. It's a matter of perception, focusing your mind on solutions, what you're looking for, what you want out of life, and then working towards that. It's not just it's not magically going to like come to you. You have to kind of meet it in the middle, right?
You have to take
Well, I do
responsibility.
have a few things that
Oh, go ahead, Sean.
are like tips for practicing it.
Yeah, go
Which
for
are-
it.
Like this journalism, journaling, that basically writing like a diary or something to recognize your habits and thoughts. Making a mood board for like visual reminders of things. There's practicing acceptance and practicing positive self-talk.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
reminded me of the vision board. I got to figure out how we can all get an online vision board together and do it in our group, because we talked about doing that like weeks ago now.
I think
Noted.
there's something on
Mental note.
Canva that you can do with a vision board or something on.
Yeah, I want to do
can't
something that
remember.
we could all have access to, and then we
Yeah.
can all put our goals and stuff on it. And that's the vision boards go hand in hand with the law of attraction. The whole
Mm.
point in putting a vision board together is to bring your goals and your thoughts and all of that into your reality.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and
it's this-
acceptance and letting go, that is something you can always practice. And even with little insignificant things, these are the essential things that you're going to learn that with, and that I programmed my brain to get into this, to try to master. Well, I haven't mastered it, but, as much as I have anyways, to master letting go and acceptance. So little things like that you lost your keys, that is a great opportunity for you to let go and to accept instead of trying to stress and
Oh, it's so
trying to stress.
aggravating.
Yeah, those little aggravating things, you have to see those as lessons. You have
I
to
agree.
see, and that is flipping the script and making a positive out of a negative. When these things happen, try to think of yourself, oh yeah, this is a moment that I can practice the law of attraction, that I can practice letting go and acceptance. And then you create a nice opportunity from a scarcity thing, from a bad thing, you create a positive. So
Yeah.
these are always
I
things
agree.
you can, these
I've
are
been
always
feeling
things-
like I've had this cosmic luck recently. Like whenever I lose something, sometimes I will get so dead set on finding it, that I just get, I put a ton of energy into finding it, and then I realize along the way that I found a whole bunch of other things I didn't even know I was looking for. And if you give up on that sort of attachment on finding the thing you were looking for, and then instead accept all the wonderful things you found in the process of looking for that thing that you couldn't find, like it flips the script. And now instead of being incredibly unlucky for not finding this thing that you lost and you keep on losing, like you're very lucky for finding all these other things in this journey of looking for this thing you've lost. So like yeah, I think it's just flipping the script.
That's
It's really
also
cool.
a way. Just find a way to make a positive out of a negative. And just like Sean mentioned, of course, the notes, that's essential too, to just write down for yourself, like what are the my thinking patterns or behavioral things that, like self-reflection first,
Yes.
reflect on yourself, and then, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, with the journaling thing, you could also do your write down goals, do things like mindfulness, commitments, motivations, timelines, challenges, and any support that you have.
Yeah,
Right.
but what I was talking about is just specifically the behavior that you want to change, or that you want to attract, that you want to radiate. So the things, how you want to use the law of attraction. What do you want to attract? Where do you want to go? Write it down and use it as an affirmation. Believe it, know it, speak it out. Yeah, create
So-
your reality.
Right. And writing things down can be really beneficial. Writing your goals down, or like you said, your behavior, like, oh, here's a behavior I'm aware of that I want to change. Okay, write that down. And then right below that, write how you would like to behave in a situation like that. Like, this is how I behaved. This is how I would have preferred to have behaved.
Yeah.
And you're getting it out in front of you. And it's just like, it something about it being, at least for me, when I write things down, it helps significantly.
Right.
Yes.
I always
And
thought
no
this was a
judgment.
little hokey. Like growing up in elementary school, whenever they had like a new vocabulary word they were teaching you, it was always like you have to say it, you have to write it out, you have to put it into your memory in different ways, and then then it's reinforced in different parts of your mind. And I think like anytime you're trying to create a new behavior for yourself, the more different ways that you can like sort of record that memory, if you can act it out, if you want to do a skit, if you want to talk, like if it's not just in your head. For me, talking to someone about it really helps, because if I tell someone I'm gonna do this thing, and then next time I talk to them, they're like, oh, have you done this thing? Like that or the idea that next time they're going to ask me about it, right? Like or the next time we talk, I should give them an update on this thing that I told them I'm going to do. Like that really helps reinforce it. It's not, and then it's not just me, that it's not just some fanciful idea I have or something I hope to do. Now it's a plan that I have started to put in action. I've told people I'm going to do it, and so I better do it.
And that is why I created this tribe, and why I am still doing good with a lot of things that I wanted to change in my life, because I took accountability and I spoke out to the tribe, my goals and everything. And, you know, I want to stay doing good because I'm holding myself accountable for a lot of people. So that is definitely helping. So yeah, speak out your goals, talk to people about it. That can always help.
Quite literally just thought about that this morning, because I, with the tribe, I used to, and I haven't done it recently, but I don't really use Facebook for a whole lot other than like businessy stuff or sharing our stuff or trying to be like motivational and all of that. But I used to write out on Facebook, I would write my daily goals. I would be like, hey, everybody, here's what I'm going to do today. And then just writing that, I didn't even have anybody specifically that I was talking to. I was just putting it out there. And then I was freaking killing it. I was like, all right, this is what I said I was going to do today. And then I would get it done. And I just had that thought this morning as I was like working out, and I was like, I got to go get some stuff done. I was going to say something in the group about it, which I didn't, but I was going to, about what I wanted to achieve today, just to put it out there for the sake of having it out there, holding myself accountable. And then for some reason, sharing that with you guys would have been like an extra boost of motivation.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's a psychological thing, but it definitely helps. The next episode is going to be on Samadhi. Samadhi, right, Justin? You want to tell
Samadhi,
everybody
right?
about it?
Samadhi, Samadhi.
Samadhi.
And honestly, like right now, if we can all do Saturday, because that's one of the things we need to discuss, honestly. So
We need to tell people when the live stream is going to be, I guess.
Well, the live stream will still be Monday. I think this is just going to be the recording for
Oh,
Yeah,
the
it's just-
episode.
It's just the recording.
it's kind of, if you guys can do Saturday, that would work best. But she doesn't know if she has to show a house that day or not, because they tell her like on the day. So like it's somewhat in the air. So I don't know if you want to like say what the next episode is with that right now.
okay.
Well-
How about we just say
So-
that,
so is
that
it-
we'll have a backup plan if that doesn't work, and we'll say we're doing that, and if that doesn't work, we'll do something else.
Well, we just say meet us at the next episode, and then we'll post about it if it ends up. Because
Yeah.
since there's no like solid plan right now, we don't want to put
Yeah.
expectations out there, and people will be like, "Wait, what?" All right. Well, all right then. I guess who wants to say goodbye?
Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Bye, guys. Next episode, we're going to be talking about oneness and maybe Samadhi.
Yes.
Or whatever else comes up.
Bye. All right. Stop the recording.